Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Till the Whistle podcast. And I say welcome back because we are back finally after a little hiatus, tiny little hiatus. Was it a hiatus? I don't even know. How long has it been since we did one
Uh,
of these?
for Till the Whistle, it's been 2 weeks now.
Oh man, two
Last
weeks
one
has
came out
flown
2 weeks
by.
ago. Hmm
Wow. Well, there you go. 2 weeks has properly flown by. We're gonna eventually figure out a schedule for this thing, because we're just dropping them whenever we want. Uh, Mostly to the kind of what I want and when I want to edit them. So but we'll move on today.
We are hiring for a paid editor
No, we're not. Don't tell them that.
come out of your pocket.
It's not out of my pocket. Apparently, according to the last one, I'm paying you, and this ain't
Exactly.
working for me. I'm not paying everyone. A paid editor would not work. I ain't got money. An unpaid editor, on the other hand, look, I'll accept what I can take, what I can get at this point. But yeah, we're back this week. We're gonna change it up a little bit this week because I feel like the last one we just rambled for a long time, and we're gonna do a lot of the same of that rambling. However, this time we're gonna switch it up a little bit, and you'll see later in the podcast what we've got planned for today. But we'll start off with a little news roundup. It's been a while since we've sat and talked about all things sport and not just the wrestling, which was a good episode. If you want to go listen to that, Till the Bell. It's on our YouTube channel, obviously. Um, but yeah, let's talk about news this week, Harry. Actually, before we do that, how are you, Harry? How's it going with you?
I'm good. I thought you weren't going to introduce me for a second. I thought I'd have to do it all myself.
No, yeah,
It's it's been a really slow couple of weeks for sports. I feel like we always get too caught up in the January transfer window, and then nothing really happens.
yeah, and I felt like I don't know. I felt like I didn't have to introduce you. You hosted one, didn't you? You hosted a
I
transfer.
did, yeah. But I'm part of the furniture now. I'm still not allowed to go on the. I still didn't get the background, but you
I've
win some, you lose
told you
some.
you can have the background.
You
You
haven't
just
told me
don't know
how to
how.
do it.
That's a you problem, and I don't want to tell you. I
I'm
don't. I've got the
disgusting.
flashy new webcam as well. Hello, flashy new webcam. I'm in
So you'll
4K
pay for
while
that, but
you're
not
in.
an editor.
Yeah, it doesn't cost me 40. How much are editors going to cost?
Well, it depends how good they are.
I'd prefer a good one.
Oh, boring.
What, do you want them to just put in random jump cuts to.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, like the old 2014 MLG videos.
Good God, don't take me back to them days. Anyway, I've splashed out on a new webcam. Well, Harry, you're in about 3 pixels. Uh,
It's 3 pixels more than you have been for the last 2 weeks.
that is very true. I mean, my webcam was literally here on my face, which was
Hmm
nice. But anyway, we will move into sport now. Hi, Harry.
That is why we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Say obviously, like we've been speaking nonsense for the past, I don't even know, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, sport. Do you want to
Sport.
open up the news
Yeah,
roundup
of
because we've been
course.
gone for a couple of weeks?
Well, first thing I want to talk about is this last weekend in the Prem, and
Yep.
we missed a couple of midweek games as well that we didn't get a chance to talk about.
Hmm.
First and foremost, though, we've got to talk about Tottenham.
Yeah, big
We've got
time.
to talk. It's they're in a
Well,
position now where they're one game away from the cup final,
yep.
which neither of us predicted when we did our Carabao Cup predictions.
Hmm.
But they've just lost 2 games in a row to Arsenal and then to David Moyes' Everton.
Yeah, that kind of links back into two things we want to talk about when we go back. You know, Moyes back to Everton, which I think we'll start with that actually because I think
Yeah,
it's a nice place to start before we move on to Spurs because he beat Spurs, so it's a nice kind of connection to go down. Moyes back to Everton. Um, did you? Because for me personally, when the who was it that got sacked? Good God, it's slipping my mind. Just
Sean Dyche.
yeah, Sean Dyche. When Sean Dyche got sacked, I thought it was a big mistake. First of all, um, second of all, was Moyes on your list of people to take over straight away?
Yes, but that's because I didn't. At this point, it was still the old Everton owners. When
Yeah,
you started seeing the rumblings about Sean Dyche getting sacked before they got bought out by the is it the Freedom Group, something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
The American owners. I was like, oh, okay, they'll sack him and bring in David Moyes. And then you get these new big flashy owners that want to spend money that have paid off their debts, and then they've taken a massive step backwards again. I'm not sure if it's a terrible appointment, if I'm honest. I think time will tell
No,
with that. It
no.
doesn't fill me with ambition though.
Is it about winning over the fans at this point? You know, Moyes is a loved figure at Everton, and yet he left for Man United. But I think the majority of Everton fans understand him leaving at that time. I mean, that was over 10 years ago now.
Well, they're made up with Rooney.
Well, yeah, yeah. You know, I think it might be about winning back the fans. And his first game didn't exactly go to plan. We won't mention it too much. Blues fans, both of us, not going to talk about Villa beating them on the first day. Although I feel like Everton Villa's always the clash that I look for when you kind of look for your rivals playing. And you think, oh, there's no
Yeah.
point in rooting on the other team at this point. I said to a friend not long ago, Everton could score 9 in a game against Villa, and Villa will still score 10 and win. It's genuinely that kind of game. So I'm not gonna
Well,
throw
I'm sure
things
that's
at
how
Moyes,
Arsenal fans were
but
looking at it this weekend as well, going into Everton Tottenham.
yeah, but that's it's a good win for him against Spurs. But then again, Spurs need to be doing better, and
I
I
just think
think
any win for Everton right now is a good win.
definitely. I think come the end of the season, I don't think they'll be in a relegation battle. Personally, I think Moyes has got more than enough experience to kind of drag them away from that bottom three. And yeah, they probably won't finish top 10 at all. Um, I doubt they'll finish even close to it.
I'm not sure. But do you think that they'll do better under him than they did under Dyche?
I think it'll be very similar, if I'm honest. I don't think there'll be much of a change, and I'm surprised they sacked Dyche in the first place. Um, More to the point that Dyche knows how to run a relegation battle. He
Of
knows
course,
how
yeah.
that kind of thing works. But yeah, look, I don't think it's a bad appointment on any occasion. I think it's a I think it's just a meh. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a step forward where things change for you. But then again, if you're trying to win over the fans, Moyes was a good decision. Even if it's short term, you don't know how long he's gonna stay in management. I know he's not. I mean, he's not the oldest manager I've ever seen, but he's not especially
Well, he's the
young.
oldest in the league now.
Well, yeah, but he's not the oldest that we've seen, like someone like Roy
No,
Hodgson's
of
that
course,
plays
yeah.
for years and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not a step forward. It's not a step backwards. It's kind of step to the side, and it's just
Sometimes that's
where
all you need,
things
though.
take us
Sometimes
now.
just
Yeah.
a fresh face is all that's needed.
Well, yeah. Well, a returning face in this occasion, and
Yeah,
well, I think come the end of the season, I think Everton fans will say, "Oh, it was a good appointment." But when you look at what Dyche would have done and what Moyes would have done, I think he probably would have predicted the same things anyway. Probably a
yeah.
solid 15th finish, maybe 14th at a push, but more than that, I can't say. Yeah, it's just a bit of a, as I say, just a bit of a shrug your shoulders kind of appointment.
Oh, completely. And I think you're at a point now with Everton where they're not going to push up the table until they massively sort out their finances and they get a proper, solid, strong core of players going. And then it's a long project at Everton. And I think Moyes will be long gone before them.
Yeah, but as someone to steady the ship right now. Whether the ship needed steadying, I'm not too sure what's going on behind the scenes. But if that's what they wanted, then they've got their man, and it's a decent appointment. He's now we'll move on to the result at Spurs. Was it away or at home? I can't quite remember.
I believe it was at Spurs. No, it was at Goodison Park.
Okay, well there you go. So a win at home against Spurs, who are in, I mean, or horrendous form at the moment. You talk about this Postecoglou team. How much of this is on the manager, and how much is it on the squad?
I think we spoke about a couple of weeks back. They've got the injuries. They've got the big injuries in defence, and they brought in a new keeper who doesn't look terrible at all. But I think looking at where Spurs are going right now, as players get more and more fit and the results don't start flowing in. I mean, looking at the table now, we spoke about how it's such a big win for Everton. Everton have a game in hand on Tottenham, and if they win that, they're 1 point off them. Spurs are on 24 points. Everton are on 20. Everton playing one less game. We could genuinely be talking about a Spurs in a relegation battle this season.
Yeah, and all that kind of talk was at Man United not long ago. And I'm not saying that scrutiny's come off Man United, but Spurs are in a worse position. I feel just talking about form, I mean, it was last week, that FA Cup, they struggled against non-league Tamworth, which aren't too far from us. I couldn't get down to the game. Did you see the prices for that game? Just a little
Oh, I
side
know, it
note.
was
It was
insane.
ridiculous.
I
But
wanted to be
anyway,
there to put up the net.
yeah. Um, but you talk about the form they're in. They struggle against Tamworth. They get through that eventually through extra time, which is another farce. But we'll have to come back to that another week
Yeah.
about FA Cup and replays. Then they go to the Emirates to play, you know, bitter rivals Arsenal, and it doesn't exactly go to any kind of plan. I mean, if you watch this game, you know Spurs going 1-0 up was the most Spurs thing to ever happen ever.
Mhm.
They hadn't touched the ball pretty much until they scored that goal, and you just thought, yeah, I mean that is what Spurs do at the end of the day against bigger teams like that. Especially when they got injury problems. It was just a really Spurs thing to happen. I don't even know if I can explain it, but yeah, then Arsenal came back and beat them anyway, so it really held no matter. And then now they lose to Everton. This form, it's horrendous, for lack of a better word.
I've
It
got
is
to ask the
really bad.
question: how long does Ange have?
Um, I'd like to say he doesn't get sacked. Um, Look, in a perfect world, no manager would get sacked because they need to give him time. You know that's not how it happens. It's a resource-based game. It's so hard to say. But I feel like I don't know how much I can put the blame on Postecoglou. Um, I said to you when I said, is it him or the squad? And I was leading towards those injuries that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And you have to admit, them injuries are, it's not good.
No,
It's
not at
really
all.
not good. Um, when you've got Archie Gray playing centre back alongside Dragusin, uh,
And
you're
looking like
going to
the better
concede
defender of
goals.
the two.
Yeah, you're going to concede goals. Um, and up the other end, Son's out of form. It seems like he's lost a bit of his confidence. Kulusevski's not exactly out of form, but he's not at his dazzling best. And Solanke's just trying to get by as a number 9, where I mean he's getting limited chances at the moment. Yeah, it's a hard situation, but I'm hoping that Levy, the owner, kind of looks forward to the Carabao Cup and doesn't do another Jose Mourinho
No,
where they
I
sack him
think he's
before the
learned,
cup final.
surely.
Well, we said a couple of weeks ago, we said an 11th place finish or whatever they were at the time and a trophy is still a successful season for Tottenham. Do you still believe that at this point in
I
time?
think I think a 17th place finish in a trophy is a good season for Tottenham. I think
Yeah,
people underestimate just how important it is that Spurs need a trophy.
yeah. You can kind of, yeah, if you win the trophy, and I know it's not all about Europe, but if you win a trophy, get Europe, but finish 14th, 15th, or whatever, you can kind of go, well, season's a write off. We pretty much got the same as last year, next year. Um, so you can just move ahead. Um, but I don't know. I don't know how much longer he wants Ange in the role. I feel like Anfield Carabao Cup semi-final second leg, that'll be him. It'll be his
Yeah.
job on the line in that game. You lose on aggregate in that game, don't get to the final, you're a goner. I don't believe that should be the case because of all the injuries, but I feel like you know how the Tottenham leadership works. It's not exactly a forgiving place.
Do you think they do it? Do you think they beat Liverpool or they beat Liverpool on aggregate?
No, no, I don't think they do. No. Um, no. I can't see Liverpool losing them to them twice in the space of a month.
But
Uh,
even if Spurs can just shut up shop and settle for a point, kind of thing, and 0-0 sends them through.
well, yeah, but I still don't think they can do it. And even if they can shut up shop and only concede one, Liverpool have got the legs. They can take them all the way. You know what I mean? It's not. Does it go to just straight to penalties in the semi-final, or is it extra time?
I believe it's straight to penalties in semi-final, and then final goes to extra time.
Okay, well, you're working on a lottery with penalties then as well. It's really hard to say, but at this point in time, the form they're in, their injuries they've got, no. Absolutely not. I think Liverpool probably beat him 3 or 4 at Anfield. I genuinely think Liverpool beat him 3 or 4 because as much as yeah, it's a Carabao Cup and maybe it doesn't matter as much to Slot as it does to Postecoglou, it's still a trophy.
Of course,
And
yeah.
to not try your best in a semi-final, it ain't gonna go down with the Liverpool fans well.
Especially when you're 5 months into a job.
100%, 100%. And I think he'll realise that yeah, maybe I messed up a little bit at Tottenham, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't even know what it's called. Is it called that now? It's
It's
not White
called the
Hart Lane
Tottenham
anymore, is
Hotspur
it?
Stadium. It should be called White Hart Lane though.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, difficult one to say. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Postecoglou's job. It's a really you just don't know at the moment. It's like a it's
Well,
some
we
form.
spoke we spoke about someone's job who isn't safe. Talk about
Go on.
someone who's not long in their job and there's already murmurs about him potentially not having the potential backing of the fans or the boards, and that's Ruben Amorim.
Yeah,
It's not been a good start. It's really not been a good start for him.
no,
11 points in 11 games is where he currently stands.
yeah. We quickly go over this now because we got another little segment coming on United
Mhm.
later in the podcast. But I do want to. It's a good point actually because I do want to kind of speak about him. Um, is he? I'll ask you this question, and I don't. It's not quite a. I don't know if it's a fair question at this point in time, but is he any better than Ten Hag?
I I'd say yes, but I also feel like that question's loaded because I also think a lot of
Yeah.
people still look at Ten Hag as a bad manager,
Yeah.
and he's not. I don't think he's a bad manager. I think Amarim's a bad manager.
Mm.
How many managers have to fail at Man United before they realise that the manager's not the problem?
No, and that's another thing we speak about when we get to this United segment is the squad.
Mhm.
Um, so in fact, I think we'll leave it there. We'll leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger right now, the United
Mhm.
stuff. And we'll come right full circle back around to it in a couple of minutes after we've just gone through the rest of these results. Are there any other results in the Premier League that caught your eye, Harry, that you can run us through now?
The only thing that massively jumps out to me is Bournemouth against Newcastle.
Yeah,
That 4-1 win, another hat trick from Kluivert. And I
yeah,
mean, Bournemouth look incredible.
they do. They really do. Um, I almost feel like, and there's no bad season to have a good season, but this season it feels like a really bad season to have a good season. As much as United and Tottenham are failing, you got someone like Nottingham Forest at the top and Newcastle at the top. You'd be struggling to get into the top four. Obviously, Europe's always there with the top seven.
I mean, at this
But
point in the
Fulham
season,
are
I
having a good
think
season as well.
at this point in the season, you look at who's fourth and you say anyone kind of within a 5 point gap can catch up to him. And
Yeah.
that's 8 teams.
Mm,
That's so Chelsea are fourth on 40 points.
yeah.
You've then got City fifth on 38,
Yeah.
Newcastle sixth on 38, Bournemouth seventh on 37, and then Villa eighth on 36. And even then, looking far back, you've got Brighton and Fulham on 34 and 33. So it's not far off at all. There's
It's a
such
tight
a
season.
big gap between the top 10 this season.
Yeah.
And between the two halves of the table, it's such a big gap. And teams are going to feel disappointed because not all of Forest, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Villa all get Europe.
Yeah.
The odds are only one of them gets Champions League if one of them gets Champions League.
hmm
I'd
I mean,
like
you
to
talk about,
hope Forest can, but
well, that kind of, as much as we want to talk about Bournemouth because they were amazing on the day, and Newcastle, yeah, had an off day, but I doubt it would last long. That form will probably return sooner than rather than later.
yeah,
But someone that might take that top four spot and almost well, take that top four spot back is Manchester City. I mean, you talk about a statement victory, 6-0. And yet you can say it's Ipswich and they're in a relegation battle, but you know what? This league, every match is, it's a challenge. It is a top division of English football. You're not just going to breeze past everyone every week, but last week it was 6-0. Huge statement victory for Man City. It's a big reminder to the teams in the top four that hey, look, we're not gone away. Maybe it was bad form, but look, we are right in this top four race. And I wouldn't say they're in a title race, no way, but top four definitely. And it pains me to say, but come end of the season, I think the top four will probably be your usual suspects of Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, and then obviously Chelsea, not usual in the last couple of years, but you know what I mean, Big Six kind of them kind of teams
I
in
think
Premiership
City
obviously
get
play.
top four no matter what.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think they've got the quality. I know they've had bad runs of forms, and they might have a couple of performances where they dip off here and there, but they're such a good side, even without Rodri. They'll probably end up getting third off of Forest, if we're completely honest. Maybe even push for second.
Yeah.
But I think Arsenal have Champions League again this season. I can say that fairly confidently.
Yeah.
Because things are only going to get better in a couple of months, in a month or so when Saka gets back.
Yeah.
And Trossard's been doing perfectly fine with that. And I think Trossard's looked really good coming on that left. Coming on that right, I mean.
Definitely.
But I think Forest, Chelsea, Newcastle, Bournemouth, and Villa are all looking at it being like that last spot's ours. And I think Chelsea probably get it.
I'd imagine so. Yeah. As I say, usual suspects probably back in that top four. But look, there's no way anyone can say that even if Forest don't get top four this season, fifth, sixth, even seventh is a good season for Nottingham
Any form of
Forest.
Europe for Forest is
And
still
there's
a
no
good
way that
season.
anyone
I
can
mean,
take that away from them. Definitely not.
I had Forest going down on my at the start of the season, and
Yeah, I think I did as well. I genuinely think the majority of people probably did. Um, you know, it was a team that was struggling for the past couple of years, but Nuno's, I mean, he's brought some life back into from somewhere. But yeah, now they're kind of headlines from the and results from the last couple of weeks or so. Looking forward, um, we've got this Saturday, City Chelsea. Sorry, excuse
yeah,
me. Big match. We'll come back to that in a minute. We don't usually speak about League One and Blues because we don't want to seem biased at all.
and then we
Uh,
get heated.
yeah, Wrexham Blues is on an American channel. I think it's on CBS, right?
It's been streamed live on CBS, and there's fan parks in America showing it as well.
Yeah, look, I'd like to say I like the involvement, but it's stupid. It's so stupid.
This happening within the same 2 weeks that Sean Dyche gets sacked just means football's so incredibly gone.
Game is
Football, the game is
completely
so
gone.
incredibly in the bin.
Look, I can't slate League One too much because obviously we're in it, and you kind of you can't slate something that your team is in because then people will go, well, you're watching it every week, so it's. But the quality in League One from someone who's watched it week in, week out is terrible. It is terrible. Look, I saw Wrexham play away. Where did they play away where they lost? I forget where they played.
Was it Leyton Orient?
No, they lost.
No, it was Barnsley.
But no, after that, it was last week. Shrewsbury. They played at Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury,
We
yeah.
lost to
Sorry, I got it here.
Shrewsbury. I know how difficult it is to go to Shrewsbury. We lost to Shrewsbury. However, Wrexham played like they've never seen a football before. God, it is rubbish. Um, and Wrexham as a rising club right now, everyone hates them, and I guess it's kind of a trend to hate them. But I feel like everyone's got valid reasons to hate them.
I don't think they do though. I think everyone in our league hates them,
Uh,
but I think everyone in our
I,
league hates us.
that's true, but I think it might extend further than you think, honestly. Um, and this club that I feel like weren't even kind of bringing in, I don't even know, 1,000 people each week, and now bringing in mass crowds. And then James McLean's getting big on Instagram. I mean, there's so many reasons to hate him. It's awful.
It's just James McLean. He's just so dislikable.
Yeah, calling Shrewsbury a shithole. I mean, you realise that you're playing for Wrexham, right? It's not exactly
Yeah,
it's not exactly Barcelona or
you do
Rome.
play in the Welsh in a little Welsh village.
Yeah, but anyway, moving on. We'll move past League One. There's no point in dwelling on it. Um, Little F1 thing for Joe, because otherwise he'll shout at us. We don't like being shouted at by Joe.
He calls
Um,
us mean names. It's horrible.
really mean names. He said, "You better bring up F1 next time you speak. You better, otherwise I don't know, hit ya."
And,
He said
and
that.
then he does his best impression of an F1 car, and it's really concerning.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. Anyway, it's Hamilton's first day at Ferrari recently. Big move. I think he's seven-time world champion. I'll have to fact check on
Yes,
that.
7-time world champion, I believe.
Now at Ferrari, I mean, Talk about prestigious and prestigious. They go together.
Mhm.
Um, I'm hoping, as someone who kind of supports Ferrari during the F1 season, that he does well. I like Hamilton as well. British drivers. I back mostly British drivers. But yeah,
Do you do
go
you
on.
imagine that he breaks the record? Is there any chance he wins this
No,
season?
no, absolutely not. No. Um, he's not a bad driver by any means. Obviously, I don't know how good the Ferrari car is yet, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it could probably compete next year. But I think you're looking at the next champion. I think next year's champion is probably Max Verstappen again. And people won't want to say that because it's a boring answer, and they're hoping
Yeah.
that something else happens. And I don't think it'll be a boring season by any means. I think he'll have to fight for it, but I think he'll fight well, and I think Verstappen probably is the eventual winner next year.
Do you think the big
Um,
fight's him and Hamilton, or do you think Lando keeps it up for another year?
if I'm honest, I genuinely think the big fight next season, and I love Lando Norris, and I think he'll be in the conversation. But I think Piastri will have a good go at him. I
Mhm.
think Piastri will have a really good go at him. I think Leclerc will have a really good go at him as well. Um, but yeah, come the end of the season, I think we'll have about five contenders at the top, maybe
Moving on
including
from
Ham.
the Formula One news, Alfie, it's been a big week for your beloved NFL.
Yeah.
We've had four divisional rounds all concluded now. We now know what the two conference championship finals are. How are we looking? What's the last week been like?
Yeah, I mean, it was very exciting. I mean, I stayed up until about 5 o'clock each morning to watch all of this stuff. Um, some people called me mental. Uh, I just call it, love for the sport. Um, however, I'll run through some results. In the AFC, we started the week off. Well, in the AFC and the NFC, the first two games are on that kind of um on that bill was the one seeds taking action. The Chiefs hosted the Texans and beat them. I mean, quite convincingly at the end. Kelsey, whose girlfriend was in attendance, you know his girlfriend, don't you? Come on, say her name.
Katy Perry.
Almost.
Damn it!
So close. His girlfriend Taylor Swift was in attendance for this one, and he played out of his mind. It must be something about her being there. 7 receptions for 117 yards. Um, impressive for a receiver. Moving on, the other one seed was in action, and this time they lost. Shocking. Anyway, the Lions. He hosted the Commanders, whose rookie quarterback put on a clinic in Detroit. 22 for 31. I mean, that's for completions against attempts. He threw for 299 yards. Um, awesome performance from the rookie quarterback. And the Commanders ran out of Detroit with a 45 to 31 win in possibly the most. I don't know. It was just so exciting. Such a just exhilarating game from start to finish. Brilliant stuff. And then the day after, the Sunday, uh, the double header was the other guys that had played last week as well. Um, First of all, Eagles hosted the Rams, who had come off the back of a bit of an upset, beating the Minnesota Vikings, who were I won't mention it too much, but they were your pick for Super Bowl
Nah,
champs.
no, I don't know what you're on about.
The
Is that
Eagles
really
ran
sounds
out.
something I'd say?
Yeah, the Eagles ran out in the end as 28 to 22 victors. Saquon Barkley, who I mean, I'll mention every week if I need to. This guy is unbelievable. Cheat code, realistically. 26 carries for 205 yards, just unbelievable. You'd have to do the maths to find out how many yards per attempt that is. And finally, maybe a little bit of an upset, a mini upset. The Bills were the underdogs going into this game against the Ravens. Although they were the higher seeded, it was in Buffalo. And in the end, they ran out 27 to 25 winners after a dramatic 2 point conversion drop from Mark Andrews. And if anyone knows about the sport, you know Mark Andrews is usually old reliable, good tight end, catches a lot of stuff. But yeah, a surprising stat about this week, kind of in the playoffs is all four winning teams had less offensive yards than the losing teams.
Oh
Texans
God.
had more than the Chiefs. The Lions had more than the Commanders. The Rams had more than the Eagles, and the Ravens had more than the Bills, and they all lost. So yeah, there's your divisional roundup. As we move into next week, we'll see. I'll just give you a little bit of a kind of roundup of the games for next week. Um, the Chiefs will host the Bills, which promises to be an unbelievable game. Josh Allen will travel to Arrowhead again to face Mahomes. We've seen this before in the conference championships. The Chiefs usually come out on top. We'll see what happens this time. And then the NFC Championship, it will be the Commanders traveling to divisional rival, the Philadelphia Eagles. And we'll see what rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels can do. Can he lead the Commanders to the Super Bowl for the first time since I don't even know. This is actually it was 1991 the last time they were in the NFC Conference Championship, and they won that. Surprisingly, they won it against the Detroit Lions, who they've just beaten the divisionals as well. But yeah, 1991 was the last time the Commanders were in the Super Bowl. Can a rookie quarterback take them there again? Well, only time will tell. But yeah, there's your little NFL roundup. We'll come back to the NFL a little bit to take our little picks. But first of all, now that NFL is all done and I'm almost out of breath, I'm gonna let you lead with transfer news from the football.
I was actually going to. I was sticking with American sports before jumping on transfer news. How professional of us! I'm actually going to quickly run into UFC 311.
Oh yeah, sorry, I completely forgot. Go ahead.
I'll only talk a bit about a couple of fights that happened on the night, mostly on the main card. Big thing being that Islam Makhachev, pound for pound ranked #1 in the world, had another fighter pull out last second. As I believe 9th ranked Renato Moicano stepped in and got murdered. It wasn't a fight by the end of it. It was Islam Makhachev playing with his food and then just killing him. And I think a lot of people would argue that it probably shouldn't have been the main event, especially when you look at the fight before the co-main, the fight before the main event, which was the co-main between which is against Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov. And Merab came into this again looking like he'd lost the first few rounds. He looked shaky at times, and it really looked like Umar had his number in the same way that I think it did at times against O'Malley, if you go back a couple of months. But Merab proved that once again he's got that engine on him, that he'll keep it going, and that he's probably the most entertaining fighter in all of the UFC right now. Take away personal biases, take away who your favourites are. Merab's having a hell of a couple of months, and one or two more good fights in the rest of the year, and I think he'll put in a good performance for Fighter of the Year. I think the only issue would be now who in the bantamweight divisions you have in fight. I think there's a lot of talk about Pantoja moving, because that's another division where there's just absolutely no challenge going on anymore. It's Pantoja, it's everyone else, but I think we'll probably get the O'Malley fight first, the O'Malley rematch first, because apparently if a man complains enough on Twitter about losing a fight, he gets a rematch.
Is it? Oh, well, I would have just done that ages ago.
Exactly, yeah. Oh. Put me in there with John Jones. Although I don't think I'm the kind of person that John Jones beats up. I'm not his wife. No. So, in the light heavyweight division as well, though, one more thing I wanted to touch on. And that's Jamal Hill losing in the third round to Jiří Procházka, who is what is probably my favourite lightweight, if I'm honest. And it's nice to see that they're not just going to keep going in the roundabout way of Jiří wins a fight and then gets Pereira and then gets another fight, wins that and then loses to Pereira again. Because Pereira has been announced for UFC 313 to be going up. I believe it's against Ankalaev. Let me just double check that quickly. I believe they put him in against Ankalaev, which is a new fight that we've not seen before. Yes, so Ankalaev has been announced to be facing Alex Pereira at the main event of UFC 313. And I think there's a big case we made that Ankalaev wins that belt. I think it's a weird case with Pereira because you just don't see him put in positions where there's any kind of jeopardy at all. But Ankalaev isn't like Jiří. He isn't like Jamal Hill. He isn't like any of these fighters that Pereira's found himself up against. And in an ideal world, I'll have Ankalaev beat Pereira and then Jiří beat Ankalaev just so I can have him back at the top with the belt again. But that is basically it in terms of UFC. I rambled on the three big fights that everyone seemed to care about.
Yeah,
wasn't much that we missed out on really. The Moicano fight with Dariush was cancelled, and I think Dariush will be end up getting that rematch at some point unless we get Moicano Pimblett.
Yeah,
but I'd honestly just keep Pimblett as well. Little side note here: keep him as far down as possible because I just don't like him very much.
No, me neither, and I don't know much about UFC, so. I mean, it extends through all sports. Are we happy to? Are we done with UFC, NFL?
That's everything. Yeah. Do you want to move on to some transfer news?
I'm gonna let you lead that one. I'm a bit in the dark about it at the moment. There's a lot, well, not a lot going on, surprisingly.
Well, that's the thing. That there isn't much going on, and I did want to run through some of the paper talk at some point, but I'll
Yeah,
run
go
you
for it.
through the big stories first. So, John Duran, West Ham have put another bid in, £55 million, and straight away rejected. Do you think there's a world in which he leaves Villa this summer, this January?
January, no. Summer, possibly. Look, his attitude is it's not great.
Mhm.
Look, it depends. It really depends how the rest of the kind of the season goes. Because Ollie Watkins is kind of playing well again. I mean, it's not like he was playing badly before. He just wasn't scoring as many goals. But he's gonna have to push his way back into starting 11, Duran. So we'll see how he feels about that. Um, he changed up his tune quite a lot, quite often. So no, probably not January. No.
All right, well, I'll run you through a couple of more of the big headlines. Two clubs are putting another bid for Alejandro Garnacho. Both Napoli and Chelsea are still interested.
Yeah,
I think Man United are going to look to get him to the books. I don't think they should, but the money needs to come from somewhere.
definitely. We'll circle
Especially
back
as
round to that again as well.
especially as we get closer, it looks like Marcus Rashford's staying as well.
Yeah. Well,
But someone who's not an Englishman who's not staying in the Premier League, by the looks of things, is Carl Walker, who today is set to be in Italy to have his trial, his medical with AC Milan. Do you think he's still got enough in him to go and play in a top league?
I think Serie A is probably a better place for him in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
But from the performance I've seen, no. I think he's been absolutely disgraceful this season. Um, I don't know what to say about him. I don't think he's very good anymore. And to be honest, I think he used to get by a lot of the time with a lot of his pace. I don't think his
Of course,
defending's
yeah.
ever been the top level. Um, but look, yeah, he's never been this bad before. Um, but I guess AC Milan will take their chances with an experienced player, and I think Serie A it could work out. It's not as intense as the Premier League is. Um,
No,
so
no,
we'll
I
see.
completely agree. Couple more kind of headlines here and there. Miguel Almiron is set to join Atlanta United in the MLS.
Hmm.
Finally leaving Newcastle after 10
Yeah.
good games. You then have he wasn't that great. Come on.
No, I was agreeing. I was agreeing.
I thought you gave me a look there that was like,
No,
oh,
no, no, no,
you're
no,
being
no, no. You're
unfair.
right. No, you're right. It was. I mean, it was a good run, and it was a funny run because it made Jack Grealish look like a bit of a tool for a little bit. But yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely right. Go on.
A couple more things. Douglas Luiz, Manchester City are still exploring a potential loan deal from him to bring him in from Juventus. He's really looked terrible since he's come in, since he left Villa, really.
Yeah.
Um, Chelsea are looking at a move for Vlahovic from Juventus as well.
Yep.
Juventus are one that are having a really weird season. They're fifth in the league,
They haven't lost
but
a game, have they?
yet to lose a game at all.
Yeah. Weird. It is weird. It's a lot of draws.
And then in terms of the big things I missed, Southampton have let go of Ben Brighton Diaz,
Yes.
moving to Sheffield United for 6 months on
Sheffield
loan.
United. Yeah. It's a big move for them. Yeah, we talked about the race for that top two last time we were doing the Till the Whistle. I tell you what, that is a big move for them top two spots. It's not just about his skill; it's about depth as well. Something that will definitely come at the end of the season. So yeah, big
I
move.
completely agree. I think that it's a weird one though because it's an obligation to buy if they get promoted for £10 million.
Okay, it's not bad.
And yeah, but I mean Southampton signed him for 6. I don't know how they've somehow made a profit off him.
No,
And he put Southampton in a position where it's a win-win because he's not
definitely
good enough for the Premier League.
no.
I think that's fair to say, but he's so good as a championship player that they
Yeah,
either
I
get 10 million for him and make a profit or he comes back on loan. He
mean we
comes
see
back
them
from
kind
the
of
loan deal
players
and he's
all the time. And if you'd asked me while he was at Blackburn whether he'd be one of them players, I probably would have said no. To be honest, I thought he was quite good at the time. Now looking back, it's probably clear to see that yeah, he probably is a top level championship player rather than a Premier League one.
he's more of a Timu Pukki than an Alexander Mitrovic.
Yeah,
I think that's the
definitely.
best way of putting it.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's nothing else massive in terms of transfers. It's been a really quiet window so
Quiet
far.
window, yeah, big time.
I think
Oh,
a lot of things are still looking towards what's happening with Liverpool. Are they going to be signing anyone to a new contract anytime soon? I think as
yeah,
the days get past, it looks more and more likely Trent leaves.
definitely, definitely. I mean, we spoke about this last time as well. It's a situation that it doesn't just resolve itself. You got to go in there and spend that money. Some of these players are worth that money. Um, so yeah, I don't know as of right now about the situation. It all went a bit quiet. I mean, we
It's
took
all
when
gone
we
very quiet as this kind of mid-season fixture pile-up happens, especially with the Champions League now in January.
yeah, I think as fixtures kind of start to get less congested throughout like February, I think it might spark up a bit more
Oh, definitely.
debate. But yeah, right now I think they're just focused on Premier League and Champions League fixtures that are coming in thick and fast. In fact, FA Cup and EFL Cup as well for Liverpool, who are in it all really, aren't they? So there you go. Um, I think that's pretty much it for the transfer roundup.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think that's
So
everything.
we'll move on. It kind of linked to the transfer roundup. It's United time. Now we spoke about this. We've hinted at it a little before, or we're kind of speaking throughout the news roundup and stuff like that. Um, but now we'll do the little United segment that we had planned. Um, Harry, I'll ask you first, and we'll kind of work to it together. Um, but I've just hired you as Manchester United boss. Congratulations, by the way.
I
Um,
don't want the job. I really don't want the job. Please don't let me have the job.
no, you've got it now. Sorry, you
Damn
have to
it.
have it. What are your plans to get this club back to where it belongs, towards the top of the Premier League, fighting for the title each year? What are the starting plans? I mean, we can only build like little building bricks right now, in terms of players we get rid of, players we'd get in, positions we want to upgrade, so on and so on.
I think there's a
We'll
lot
work through
of
this
dead
together,
wood at the
obviously.
club. There's a lot of dead wood at the
Yeah.
club that needs gutting.
So
I
we'll
think,
start with players we'll get rid of.
yeah,
Um, I think the one that springs to mind immediately is Marcus Rashford.
get him gone. Get him on the first flight to wherever wants him.
Saudi if they want him. Jesus Christ. I mean, I said it last time we were on here. I'll say it again. His attitude stinks. It always has.
Yeah.
Um, and whereas he's very talented, um, I almost can call it Dele Alli syndrome, where you had a good couple of years and now you're not all that anymore, and you're still acting like you're all that, and it's a bit.
Well, I mean, that I don't think that's fair. I think by the end of this season, Dele Alli will be getting more top flight football than Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, probably. But the point stands that he was good as a youngster. He's not playing at his best anymore, and that's got to be due a little bit to how he's treating the club and the game. So yeah, if I was at the top of that kind of leader, if I was a leader at the club, he's probably the first one I'd get gone.
So
Um,
Marcus Rashford,
yeah, that's
first
one
name
gone.
gone. Another name that I kind of look at and be like, I don't know how he's still there. Casemiro.
Yep, definitely. I mean, he had a great
Honestly,
career, but
people always say the phrase, "Oh, if a club wants him, I'll drive in there myself." You might have to drive in there yourself because I don't think his legs will work.
no, definitely not. Look, as I say, he has a great career with Real Madrid. How many Champions Leagues, all of them kind of achievements he brought in. One of the best defensive midfielders in the world at one point. Um, he's not it anymore. He's aged. He's done. And in the words of Jamie Carragher, leave the football before the football leaves you. And the football's left him.
The football's left him.
Yeah. Another name that I think he's probably dead wood at this moment in time. I mean, I could say Johnny Evans, but he's just backup at the moment. I'm sure
He's
he'll be
just
gone
there.
sooner than later. Yeah. Now this is difficult to say, but look, you got to make moves forward to make sure your team is improving. And Christian Eriksen is someone that I admire, but also someone that isn't moving this club forward. Um, Look, I wouldn't. He's not the one that I'd drive to another club to get rid of him. I think he's one that maybe you can keep around for backup, but no, he should not be starting at this level anymore. Um, Not only is he a bit too old, a bit too slow, he's not got it anymore like he used to have.
I don't
Like
think he has since he was at Tottenham, if I'm honest.
No, I mean he showed flashes when he was at Brentford for that one season. The
Oh,
battles off the
I
back
completely
when
forgot he
he
was at
came
Brentford.
back
You
to
are right,
United.
to be fair.
Yeah, but other than that, no. Look, he's not the same player he was. For multiple reasons, and it's someone I do admire. I think he's a good player. But yeah, I think he's past his prime, well past his prime now, and I think it's time for Man United to probably move him on. Is there any more Deadwood names that you probably think get rid?
It's going to sound harsh, and I do like him as a player, but Luke Shaw.
Okay,
I think Luke Shaw can't keep himself fit for more than 3 games.
no,
I think he can't keep himself healthy for more than 3 games. And Man United need a big star signing left back. And we'll get on it in a second, I think. I think
yes,
it's a position they massively struggle in, especially under Amarin, where he plays a system that you need to be able to rely on those wing backs.
yeah, definitely. Um, I mean, talk about relying on wing backs. I mean, you're not relying on any of them. I mean, Luke Shaw's out all the time. Dallow's not very good. I don't think, at least. I just think he's a bit.
I think they've got one good fullback in Mazraoui.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, I think he showed that. But is he up to the task of bombing down the wing like Aaron wants him to? I feel like he's
I
more of
don't
a
think so.
defensive
Yeah.
fullback. But we'll see. I mean, we've seen him play him centre back at some points this season. But is there any more dead weight names that you can think of?
It seems harsh with some of the newer guys to turn around and say, like, bin him off, but I don't see it for Joshua Zirkzee.
Yeah, yeah, me neither. I don't think he's even. How old is he?
He's 20, I want to say he's 24, 25. Let me have a quick look.
It's not
He's not
old, but it's
he's
not
not
young.
young, but he's not
Old. No, he's kind of in that
two
kind of
seconds.
mid
Joshua
twenties.
Zirkzee. Oh, he's 23.
Okay, so he's not he's still quite young.
Yes.
I think you're right. I think it's one you could probably get rid of, and no one really think a second of it.
I think you'd want to keep Hoyland.
Definitely,
I think Hoyland does offer something in that position. I think he's the best striker Man United have got so far.
definitely, definitely. Um, I mean, you also speak about Lenny Yoro, who dropped a disaster class against Southampton. Um, so I wouldn't say he's dead weight, and I wouldn't get rid of him, but he's young enough where you can probably send him out on loan, get him some game time
I
from the
think he
lads.
needs something, right? Because he's going to be one of those, I worry, that's just constantly clouded by how much he was worth.
Definitely, definitely.
The price tag will follow him everywhere.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll move on to the keeper, unless there's any more names you want to bring up.
Uh, Not necessarily get rid of, but I don't understand how Andre Onana's still starting. I
No,
think you look at that Arsenal game in the cup where Binder, is that how you pronounce it?
yeah.
The young kid that they had in goal dropped an incredible performance and won them the game.
I don't think he's even that young, Bayandir. I think he's
Oh, is he
probably in
not?
his mid-20s, yeah, maybe even late 20s.
I mean, for a
Which is not,
keeper, it's still
yeah,
not.
it's still, yeah, you get a couple
Oh,
of
you are
years
right.
out of him.
He's 26, which for a keeper isn't young, but
It's still, it's younger than a lot of top-class
oh,
goalkeepers.
definitely, yeah. I wouldn't say he's close to his prime.
No, right. After that kind of dead weight, we'll move on to key positions before we move on to signings we'd
Mhm.
make. Um, what's a key position you think that club needs right now?
I think it's a broken drum, but I think a defender. I'd say left back.
Yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna I'm going to agree with you on the left back, and I'm also going to say centre back is also a need. Whilst, yeah, sure, Delict is probably there, except Ahmad, obviously. I think Delict is probably one of their best players, and he's still not consistent enough as a top level defender should be. But you also got to sympathise that he hasn't got maybe a world class centre back partner.
If I'm
Um,
honest, I think a lot of the time it's funny to say it, but I think since Amarin's come in, the only defender that's looked up to task is Maguire.
Definitely. I think Maguire's hated on a little bit too much, but I also don't think he's world class.
No, of
Like
course.
Delict what probably is and will need to be with Man United moving forward. So yes, centre back I think is a need. What do you think? Another position?
I think you need another central midfielder.
I was gonna say exactly that. Yeah,
I
definitely.
think Ugarte's come in. He doesn't look up to it
No,
at
at the
all.
same time he doesn't
It's
look
big
terrible.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But they need someone who can offer a bit more, even in terms of squad. If you want to let Ericsson go, Mason Mount's not up for it.
Yeah,
there's so many questions about the future of Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if I'm Man United manager, you give Kobbie Mainoo whatever money he wants.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, definitely.
You
I
make
mean,
him like one of the highest earners at the club and give him a 6-year deal.
yeah, he's got so much potential. It'd be silly to let him go anywhere, even anywhere near like his contract running out, like Liverpool are doing with Trent
Oh
and
yeah.
Mo Salah at the moment. It'd be silly to do that. Another position I think definitely. I mean, considering Garnacho is gone, I still think you need a left winger.
Yes.
Um,
I'm surprised they didn't go in when Napoli were talking about. I know we're going to talk about certain names in a second, but when we're on about Kvaratskhelia,
yeah, definitely.
going to PSG for about 60 million.
They could. I
I
feel
think
like
that was a name they should have been all over.
definitely, but at the same time, I'm not too surprised they didn't. But then again, they're now going to sell Garnacho. What?
Yeah.
You've got a depth there. There's no one going to except Rashford. Who else are you going to play at left wing, really? Who else have
You've
they
got
got to
Rashford who can play there. You've got Anthony.
He's going out on loan as well, so he might be
Real
gone for the
Batiste,
rest
of
of the
course,
season.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking pretty much no depth at that left wing position, unless Amorim wants to play narrow. You've got nothing to go on that left hand side, so that is
It
definitely
seems stupid to play narrow in a time where your best player is Amad Diallo.
yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. So it's a difficult decision to kind of, unless they've got a replacement lined up for Garnacho. I don't know, but we'll see. Any more key positions you think are needed? We've pretty much ran through most of them, but
I don't want to change too much the team, but I think centre forward.
yeah,
I don't think Man United have a goal scorer
no,
outside of Bruno.
I also think Højlund could be. I don't think he's being developed well at the club he's at the moment.
No, me neither.
I think
I don't
Højlund would
think
be
he's
a much
terrible.
better player outside of United.
Yes.
Which is, a shame for him, but it's whatever.
Right, so what from here, should we go through every position and each throw a name out, and then we'll come to a decision between us?
The positions we've named as key positions.
Yeah. So say left back. We both think of a left back.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that then. Yeah. Okay, so left back. Well, you brought that one up, so I'll let you go first with left back.
So I've been talking to someone a lot about this because my friend at work's a Liverpool fan, and I'm of the belief that they need a new left back as well. And there aren't any world-class left backs in the world right now. I don't think,
Really.
especially none that are for sale.
No.
And the first name that comes to my head for someone like United, especially in the system that Amorim wants to play, is Ryan Aït-Nouri from Wolves. I think he plays well in that back five system. I think he's been one of very few shining sparks for Wolves this season, him and Matthias Cunha.
Yeah.
And if you're talking names that I think would slot perfectly into a certain style of play, I think he'd do really well at Man United.
Yeah. You've got a great point with world-class left backs because, yeah, I'd like to sit here and say, go and get Alphonso Davies. Fast, probably would play well in that kind of back five system where his defending's probably not relied on that much. But I don't think he's for sale at the end of the day. Other than that, you struggle to think of many left backs that are like world class.
There's one other name that pops to my head.
Go on.
That's having a really good season. It's Premier League again, so he'll cost big money. That's Milos Kerkez.
Yes, I also think I don't think he's for sale. I think Bournemouth are doing too well to go. Look, we don't have to sell him, so we probably won't. And yeah, you're right. The big bucks, it's going to be a lot of money for that kind of player, especially in the same division as you. I think Man United probably do better, probably looking abroad for one, mostly because of money.
No, I
These
agree.
people ain't going to go for cheap. But then again, I struggle to think of someone abroad that's a great left back. So
I think you look at someone like Grimaldo or Theo Hernandez, Man United can't afford to play with those kind of teams.
No, definitely not. Definitely not in the position they're in. And I think you're right. I do think you probably have to take a gamble on a young player at some point.
Definitely.
At left back. I also think it's a position, as long as they've got the kind of things that you need right now, I think it's a position you can take a gamble on. Someone from the Championship who looks good in the Championship, you take a gamble on them at kind of left wing back, where get forward and maybe put a few crosses in, but your defending's not that of a big deal right now. I mean, obviously it's going to be important, but not as important as some of the positions on that back five. Yeah, maybe you take a gamble, but again, I struggle to think of any names coming to my head immediately of left backs in the Championship who are doing
The
well
only
this
name that
season.
comes to my top of my head, and I know it's a big, big risk, and I don't think it wouldn't cost him too much money, is Dennis Kirkin, the
Oh,
Sunderland left back.
yeah,
I think he's someone that could come in. He's worth about 6, 7 million according to One Football. So, uh, sorry, didn't mean to move my camera there. So Sunderland would probably ask for about 10, 15.
definitely. Uh, it's hard to say. 'Cause left back is such a difficult position to come by at the moment, as you say.
It is such a weak position. I think I'm happy to sit here and say that Ryan Aït-Nouri would be a great player to go to Man United.
I do like that show. I do like that show. I think Wolves are struggling at the moment as well, so I don't think he'd be opposed to getting out of that kind of
Oh no, of course
situation.
not. And
Um,
then should
cool.
we look at centre half was yours?
Yeah.
Who comes to your mind off the top of your head?
Again, a difficult one, mostly because of who's going to talk to Man United at this point. But
Yes.
I want to say that I had a conversation about this not long ago with a friend, and we were saying that Man United need to pull out the Man United kind of status again
Yes.
and say to teams, "We are Manchester United.
You
You
want to come and
should."
play for us? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You put a bid in for a player. If this player hears word that his team has rejected a bid from Manchester United, that player is going
Oh
to
yeah,
start to rumble. You know what I mean? This when you're getting out negotiated by teams like Werder Bremen, you're in trouble as a Man United. You know what I mean? It's not like a
completely.
and obviously there's no exact example of them getting out negotiated by Werder Bremen, but you know what I mean. They should be using their status as Manchester United. This is the biggest club in England. This probably the second biggest club in the world.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
They need to be using that. They need to be saying, we are the second biggest club in the world. Your player will want to come and play for us. So take this money we're offering for you now before your player starts to get unhappy and has to leave. You know, it's that kind of it, it it's that kind of thing that they haven't used for a long time. And I think that's a reason that they're overpaying for a lot of players that aren't worth the money. And they're not getting a lot of players that a lot of other clubs are getting in them races. I think they
I
need
do
to remember
complete.
what kind of club they are.
I do completely agree, and I think Man United should have a certain stature in
Yeah,
football when it comes to the way that players come in and things like that, and the way that
yeah,
players view Man United that they've not had for a little while. We saw glimpses of it when they were convincing Rafael Varane and Casemiro
definitely.
to join, and then when you had Ronaldo and Edinson Cavani and things like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of centre halves, though,
See, again, as I said with left back, I'd love to sit here and say, go sign him for Tomori. I think that might be a
Mhm.
decent shout, but I also think he's not up for sale at the moment. He's doing well in Italy, so why would you sell him? Um, no, I struggle to think of centre backs at the moment that are to be negotiated for. But I guess at the same time, you're Man United. I guess maybe if Tomori wants to return to England, maybe it's a shout. I don't know. I don't know.
someone who I would consider having a look at, he's got 17 games this season for Bayern Munich, so he is playing regularly. But you do see him come off early. You see a lot of him coming off the bench, and that's Kim Min Jae.
Yeah.
I think Kim Min Jae struggled to find his feet the first season at Bayern. He's getting the kind of game time now, but I
See,
think a decent enough bid would
see,
definitely
my
take him off your
problem with
hands.
him and Jay is his speed. You've
Yes,
got Delict already, who is not exactly the fastest. And then if you're playing a back kind of three with the three centre backs, you got Harry Maguire as well, who's not the fastest. I feel like you need to inject some speed into that kind of back three.
I think if we're fancy playing this, I think you are right. I think it's Fikayo Tomori. Fikayo
Yeah,
Tomori is the perfect shout. He's got that pace at the back,
but
and
realistically, you're probably not going to get Fikayo Tomori,
no,
and that is the problem you stand with. I'm thinking of players that maybe on the fringes, but maybe just good enough to come and have a season or a young centre back. There's a guy. he plays for Lecce, who I've just seen they're negotiating with. I think. Oh no, I think that was someone else.
That was Man City.
Yeah, yeah. Never mind.
Someone who has got the pace. I'm just double checking. He's not been playing much this season because he's been injured, but he is set to come back from injury very soon. Is Presnel Kimpembe. Wouldn't cost you much to take him off PSG
No.
at all. I think Transfermarkt has him at around 8 million. So you'd
Look,
probably pay about 10, 15.
I don't think it's an amazing signing, but I don't think it's a bad signing either. I think you'd do well for him for a season or two to kind of hold the ship in the defense. I don't think he's a bad defender by any means. I think he's quite a good defender actually. So yeah, that name it just I don't know. It kind of sparks mixed emotions. If I was a Man United fan, would I like? I don't know. I don't
I'd
know.
tell you what, the obvious option is the one that they should have gone for in the summer, which is Jared Branthwaite.
100%. But again, he's in the same league. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of want to get off that Everton ship at this point in time.
Yes.
So
Especially for Man United.
yeah, there's a couple that you could realistically. There's loads that you can just go and negotiate for. But how many are up for sale is a
Yeah.
difficult thing to say. I think Kimpembe is probably a decent shout at the end of the day. But other than that, I'm not too sure. Um, what is there a name that we should put down for that one as like a we'll
I
say
think
it?
we turned around and said that we are the Man United manager, right?
Yeah,
So I'm happy to sit here and say Fikayo Tomori.
okay. We're gonna write down for Kaya Tomori.
And then
We tried to stay. I mean, we tried to stay kind of realistic on the
yeah,
other names. So we're gonna yeah.
I think
Whoever's
when you get
watching,
out of
if you got a
defence,
problem with it,
it's
you got a
easier.
problem with it, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Do something about it.
come message us.
Stupid
Yeah,
viewer.
comment, please comment.
Yeah. Please interact with us.
Yeah,
We're
please
sorry.
interact. Yeah, please comment. Please
Please
comment.
don't call us mean names.
Yeah, I don't mind. You can call me a mean name. We got told we had bad ball knowledge last time.
We did actually, yeah.
That really that hit hard that one.
Well, that was when I was talking about the fact that Tottenham had a chance against Liverpool, and then
Was
look what
it?
happened.
I
Then
thought
look
it
what
was the
happened.
Salah top 10 one or something like the top 10 in the Premier League. Anyway,
Oh
doesn't
no, you
matter.
are right. But also, of course he is. Of course he is.
Yeah. Anyway,
Bad ball. Of course he's top. You've started me on this now.
no,
No.
it's
Okay,
okay. It's
okay,
okay.
okay,
Central
okay.
midfield.
Fingers on
Who would
lips.
you bring in? I've got a name in mind for this one. Who do you
Central
think?
midfield. Oh, okay. Easiest answer to sit here and say just put in a bit for Zubimendi.
Yeah. Again, it's a difficult one to go for.
I think Zubimendi looks incredible. Whenever I've seen him play for Spain, whenever I've seen him play for his club.
Yep.
And there's obviously a reason why every big club in the world wants him.
Oh yeah, he's a good player.
With it looking like Arsenal at this point in time, I think Man United have, but maybe not this season because of the lack of European football, but maybe Man United go and win the Europa League, and they have that leverage over Arsenal in the way of, oh, we've just won this big European trophy, come and join us.
Definitely.
But Zubimendi is the first thing that came to my mind. You said you had someone?
Yeah. If I'm Man United, I'm taking risks on young players at the moment. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go get myself Joe Bellingham.
We did talk about this the other week about Joe Bellingham.
Yeah.
I see it. I do.
I think it'd be a great signing. I think he's a good player. I think he's got a really high ceiling, and I also think his floor's not too far either. You know, I think it's a decent level. I'm not saying he's going to be able to hold down the midfield every week in the Premier League, but I think he'd
Of course not.
definitely do a good job. And look, even if the depth, you can bring in another player, you know. But I think if I'm Manchester United boss, I think one of my first priorities is to go out and secure Joe Bellingham before Borussia Dortmund do or someone like that, you know. So yeah, I think he's definitely the one that I go after right
You
now.
are right. He's quality, and it's only a matter of time before he is at a big club or Man United. But I think
Horrible.
no,
Man United
I do
fans.
agree. I think I'm happy to sit here and say Joe Bellingham. There's no name we can sit here and think about that's better to slot into that Man United team. I think he fits the way they play so well as well.
And I also think with Kobe Mainu as well, that young midfield, it can come up together. If that can make a partner, that's good for England as well. You know
Of
what I mean?
course, yeah, and it gives him that kind of freedom as well to go forward.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think, yeah, and then Bruno ahead of them. And I'm not saying he's not exactly young anymore, Bruno, but he's a good player.
He's
When
also
he's at his
not
best.
as dislikable as he is. He's also not a terrible player.
No, definitely not. And with him ahead of them too, I think it can support Job's kind of development as a player as well. Um, so yeah, that's the name I think I'd be going out and getting straight away.
Then left wing.
Yeah, again, it's so difficult. Left wing is quite abundant in probably quality, probably the most abundant one we've got on here. Yet, how many of them are actually up for sale?
I'd like to throw a name out, and I want you to give me a chance before you turn it down.
Go on.
Because I keep seeing rumors about his contract, and I
Yeah,
keep seeing
me too.
things that
I think I
maybe
feel
he's
like
not
I
happy
know.
at Tottenham,
Oh, Tottenham. Okay.
and may there might be a chance that if you give Heung-min Son the right money, just
See,
for a couple of seasons on the left,
see, I didn't think you were going to go that direction,
where did you think I was
and
going?
I thought you were going to go Jack Grealish.
I that's also a name that I think you. I don't know. I
But
think
it's
Jack
not.
Grealish's problem is that he's a number 10.
Yeah, maybe. I also just think he'd do a job at left wing
Of course
For
he
Man
would, yeah.
United,
You
even
get
if
a
it's
lot more
not long
freedom under
term.
Amrin than you do under Guardiola.
Look, at this point in time, you're talking about a club that is rotting from the inside out. You know, um, players. Just everything behind the scenes seems to not be going well. They replace their owners with a new owner that seems to be a little bit worse than the old owners somehow. Um, so look, this isn't about kind of building the next dynasty of the Premier League. I feel like we can sit here and try and surely it's about steadying the ship.
Yeah.
And I think Jack Grealish probably does that. And Man City fans might not be happy with him going across Manchester to join United, but they don't have a
But
choice.
if you're going for someone that kind of age, give me 2 seconds. If you're going for someone that kind of age, do you maybe consider Johan Wieser?
It's a possibility. He's in good
Cheaper.
form. Yes,
I think he's cheaper than
definitely.
Marcus Rashford. I think someone who comes in on a massive I think a lot of the time Man United will sign these young players that come in. But I think recently, Man United's best examples of players stepping up. I mean, people who have come in on good form. I think you look at the start of Rafael Varane. I think you look at the one that I'm looking back at is Edison Cavani.
Yeah.
Came in, no real resale value, was on good form, and he stepped up. And I think Jan Wieser, I'm not trying to compare the two players at all,
No, no, no.
but I
I see what
think
you're
Jan
saying.
Wieser is a player that comes in on really good form with massive levels of confidence and
Definitely.
shines that Man United team for 18 months.
Definitely. I do think that's a good shout, Visser. Again, it's hard to say in league because a lot of players that do move around are between in league. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but talk about kind of intercontinental around Europe. I struggle to think of any left wingers that are probably for sale at this point in time. Kvaratskhelia has just gone to PSG.
There's no one really for sale on the Milan side of things.
No, Rafa Leao's not going to leave.
Maybe look at Rafael Leao. Maybe I think you could do a lot worse than Christian Pulisic, but he's having a very good season. I think he cost a lot of money.
Definitely, yeah. I think he could, but I also don't think he shone very well, played very well in the Premier League when he was at Chelsea. I thought he was all right,
No, but I
but
also don't think many people did in that Chelsea team.
no, that's true. Yeah, you could be right. I think there's a lot of names for left wing, and I think you sport for choice almost, but you just got to make that right decision. Um, and and I know I said about steadying the ship, and that looks a bit hypocritical when I chose Joe Bellingham for the centre mid, but I think in some areas you can take the risk,
Oh, of course.
especially with players that you know are decent, and especially with the areas where you're already pretty decent. Um, but moving on to the last one, centre forward, striker. What do you think?
I think looking in league again, have a quick
Yeah,
run through teams that are around that area. I know he drops back a lot, but Mateus Cunha.
Yeah, okay.
I can sit here and say that the obvious answer is Victor Gyökeres
Yeah,
because I think that's what everyone would say. Everyone would
definitely.
say just spend the money, get
There's
Gyökeres
definitely a
in.
pull there. There's definitely a pull there. I mean, old manager, it's Manchester United.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's more likely that Gyökeres goes to Man United than it is anywhere else. But I'd also say it's probably more likely that he stays at Lisbon next season. I don't know. We'll see. But I also think Højlund's okay. He's not going to be terrible for the next couple of seasons. I think he'll do a good job.
No, I
Um,
agree.
and I think this is why we named it last. Striker last.
I think it's
It-
their least important position.
yeah, I definitely think so. I think you could probably work with the strikers you got right now. But I think
Definitely.
you got to build out your base. And I think what we spoke about is building out that base. But if I had to choose a name, I mean, I think you look, you just again, it's just really difficult one because again,
I mean, look at the biggest informed striker I think in England right now. Do Man United have the pull to go and get someone like Alexander Isak?
well, I thought you were going to say Chris Wood.
Do Man United have the stature to go and get Chris Wood?
Chris Wood. No, not big enough for him.
I'll tell you what, Evan Nilsson.
Good shout.
Evan
Yeah, it's a
Nilsson's
good
not a
shout.
terrible shout, I don't think, but Evan
Also playing for
Ferguson maybe.
That's the name I haven't known for like 2 years. I don't know. I think it's an option, definitely. Young striker. Is he only 20? Evan Ferguson?
He's
He's
20,
definitely not
21.
old. Yeah, he's definitely not old.
I know he's
That'd
not
be
on
a
the best
decent
run of
shout.
form, and I think that's the way to get him on cheaper. I think a lot of clubs are looking at him. West Ham really want him by the sound of things.
Yeah.
2000, he's 20. He would have been in our year in school.
Wow.
December
That
20,
sucks.
October 2004.
That sucks. You know how
And
bad
here
that
he is
sucks?
making 70 grand a week, and here we are recording, talking about him.
That sucks. You know how bad that really
Mhm.
that really makes me want to bang my
Well, you
head
just
against the
spoke about
wall.
Joe Bellingham signing for Man United. He would have been like a year below us in school.
Yeah, I know. I think he's 2 years. I don't know. How old is he?
I think he's 18.
Oh,
Joe Bellingham. I know Lenny Yoro is younger than us as well.
good God.
Yeah, he would have been in the year below us in school.
And we were slating you, Lenny Yara, a second ago as well.
Mhm.
Oh, man. Anyway, Unk status achieved.
Unbelievable.
Anyway,
Didn't get this back in my day.
no, we'll move on. I think we're done with United now. I think we've just fixed.
Yeah.
I think did we just fix Man United?
Did we just win Joe Bellingham the Ballon d'Or?
Well, I don't know about that, but I think we just fixed Man United.
I'm pretty sure we signed the contract now.
I think
I
reckon.
Rio Ferdinand once said, "Let him put what numbers he wants on it."
Yeah,
Harry and Alfie's at the wheel, baby.
but he also said Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or. So I'm not gonna trust Rio Ferdinand that much.
He did also once record himself walking around the Real Madrid badge.
Top 10 respect moments. Anyway, we'll move on to the next little bit we have planned. Looking ahead, I'll let you lead this one, Harry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, look at this weekend. You've got one big fixture that stands out above the rest of them, and that is Chelsea against Man City.
Yeah.
And something I wanted to open the floor to is this season, both clubs have been on a very different trajectory. I think Chelsea have massively overperformed at times. I think City have massively underperformed. But this season, what is the best combined 11 for the two?
Do you want to name a formation for this? Do you want to go 4-3-3 with a DM, or
I'd say 4-3-3,
attacking
and we go
midfield?
one DM, one central midfielder, one attacking midfielder.
Yeah, that works.
I think that always works. And I think first place to start is keeper, which
Yeah.
I don't know how easy that actually is, because
But I've already written his name in, so
he's not great.
who?
Just to be clear, we're talking about Edison, right?
Yeah,
Edison's having a really bad season.
I don't care. He's still better than Sanchez.
I did see the stat today. I'm quickly getting up the Chelsea result, the Chelsea formation from the last game. But I did see a stat that the only person in the league that had more mistakes than him is Muric from Ipswich.
Lovely. Well, there you go. Edison's in. Look, I don't think we have to speak about that one for long. I'll be honest. But he could have the worst season ever. He's still better than Sanchez, and I know that for a fact.
I'll tell you a name I would like to argue.
Go on.
Left back.
Yeah.
I think you can make an argument that Marc Cucurella is the better left back than Josko Gvardiol, especially this season.
I disagree so badly. It's unbelievable.
It's just you just don't like him. He's just dislikable. He's a dislikable man.
I do dislike him.
Who drinks paella, who eats paella and drinks Estrella, right?
I cheered when David Brooks pulled him by the hair again.
Anyway, it was incredible.
No, I just think Vardiol's better than Cucurella. I just do.
I'll let you have this one, but I want you to remember this for when I argue something a bit later.
Okay.
Because there's a couple here that I might end up arguing. But give me 2 seconds quickly just to pull up the centre halves. So you've got Ruben Diaz, makes it.
Yep. Next.
And then what's your other position? What's your other centre half?
Who are the two we're talking about?
You got a couple you can choose between. You got Tosin Adarabioyo.
Yep.
Who I do like.
Yep.
Trevor Chalobah's just come back. I don't think he's.
I don't want to talk about him with the Chelsea team right now. I just don't think that's fair. One game with Chelsea in the season, I don't think that's fair.
Manuel Akanji.
I think he's decent. I think he's very good, but
this season, I'd sit here and make the argument that Adarabioyo's had a better season than.
I'll let you run this one. I got Vardiol.
I'd like to put Adarabioyo in there. I think a lot of what he does gets unsung.
Yep, absolutely.
And then I think right back's an easy one as well. I think Reece James can't stay fit for more than 3 games.
But anyone but Kyle Walker, right?
Yeah, Rico Lewis.
Okay, I'll take that.
I think Rico Lewis is probably always going to have a career as England's number 2 right back.
Yeah,
because he's never going to start
left back as well. To be fair, though, it's not a huge.
And defensive midfield.
He's very versatile. I think that's a huge plus for him.
All right, so defensive midfielder. Obviously, we can't talk about Rodri.
No.
You got Ilkay Gundogan.
Yeah.
You've got Mateo Kovacic.
Yeah.
You've got the man who I think probably should get it, Moises Caicedo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think he's having a really good season. I think he's finally coming to his own in that Chelsea team.
Definitely.
100%. And I know Reece James is the captain, but I think Moises Caicedo should be given that armband.
Oh, he's just. We saw him when he came in. Was he from Brighton, right? He came in from Brighton.
Yes.
But he had a big price tag on him, and he didn't live up to it that first season. And people thought, "Oh, it's another Chelsea flop." But no, he just takes time. You know what I mean? And yeah, he's having a great season this season. He had a very good end to last season. So yeah, it just shows this Chelsea team's kind of growing as a unit now. And he's definitely a vital part of that. So.
Completely.
Definitely.
I think Caicedo makes the starting 11. I think box-to-box midfielder now. It feels weird to say De Bruyne because he's not been great and he's not been fit. Yeah.
Better than Enzo
He's not
Fernandez.
Been fit and he's not been great. But Enzo's not been great either, I don't think.
Not recently, but he had a very good spell. And I don't think he's been bad recently. And I also wouldn't say De Bruyne's a box-to-box. I always prefer him.
Would you put him as a number 10?
Yeah.
All right, so should we say Enzo Fernandez for your box-to-box midfielder? But then I'm also worried we've just got an old Chelsea midfield then.
I don't care.
Because your number 10's Cole Palmer.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. That's not the point. You know, we're doing it for who's best.
No, yeah. But do you really think man for man, City as Chelsea midfielder is better than without Rodri? Yeah.
I think it's close. I genuinely think it's close. At this point in time, with current form, I genuinely think it's close. So,
but then again, I think also most of the front 3 is probably City as well. I think you look at left wing. I don't think Neto's been terrible.
No.
I don't think Nkunku's been terrible. I don't think Felix has been terrible.
No.
But I think Phil Foden's been better.
Left wing?
I know Foden's coming on off the right, but listen, let me work this out because I think your 2 best wingers are Foden and Madueke.
I thought Foden's had a bad year this year. I think Doku's a better option than Foden,
I
personally.
I don't think Doku's much better than Pedro Neto.
I think he is better, and I think he's better than Foden as well. I also prefer Foden. I don't know. I prefer Foden in number 10.
Oh, he doesn't start over Cole Palmer.
Well, there you go. I think Doku's
All
probably our
right.
left winger.
If you can put Doku on the left, I want to be able to make an argument to say Madueke on the right.
Who's the Man City option for the right wing? Savinho?
Savinho or Foden, really. Bernardo?
No, I would say probably Savinho. And I would usually argue this one, but you've given me Doku, so I'll give you Madueke.
I think Madueke, whilst not being incredibly consistent, I think he's probably been one of Chelsea's best players all season. You look at that
Well,
attacking front three that they've had going with Madueke, Palmer, and Jackson. And
yeah,
because Jackson won't make the starting 11, we know that. But I think
I'm writing his name in now.
Madueke has really come into his own.
Yeah.
And I'm not
And
sure
then,
why Chelsea are so adamant to look at a new winger, unless it's just because of Neto.
yeah. Okay, so this is the team we've got. I'm guessing Haaland's up front, right?
No, I was going to make an argument that it was
You have to list
Mark
the
Guéhi.
names.
It's Mark Guéhi.
Shut up. Shut up. Right. So Edison in goal. We got Vardy left back. We got Diaz and Tosin at centre back. And then we've got Rico Lewis at right
Did you write
back.
Toaster because you can't spell Adebayo?
Yes. And then we've got Caicedo. We got Enzo. And we got Cole Palmer. And
Mhm.
then on the left hand side, we got Doku. On the right hand side, we got Madueke. And then in the number 9, we got Nicholas
Mr.
Jackson. No, I'm joking.
Exactly. No, you
We
got
got
Mr.
Haaland.
Humble himself.
We got Haaland.
The man who's on a
So
115-month contract, which just has to be on purpose. His contract has 115 months left on it. That's exactly how many charges.
I love it. It's awesome. Well, make sure you argue with Harry in the comments. Nothing to do with me.
Yeah, please tell me how I'm wrong and that Savinho is a better player than Noni Madueke. And I'll tell you you're wrong and stupid and I hate you.
Why?
Because
Hate me.
it's Noni Madueke, come on.
I like my
It's
way to
just
make it.
the eye test.
Oh, is that what? Okay. We're bringing it back to that. Savinho. Okay, I'm not going to argue. We're just going to move on. Um,
Move on. I'm pretty sure that's everything we had to cover, right?
one, one more, one more, one more
Uh,
Premier League thing, and then we'll
I'm
move on
remembering
to
now. Yeah.
our little NFL Mystic Mac, and then we'll end it all up. But this is the best segment we have, and you better like it. You better like it, new webcam. There's probably no one's looking at me right now, but you better
Well,
like it, new webcam. But what me and Harry have devised is coming up with who would win in a Premier League manager's Hunger Games. Now, been mulling this over,
mhm.
and let's eliminate some names.
Okay. So first name, we'll go one at a time. First name I want to get rid of because I think he lasts no more than 10 minutes is Grandpa.
Yeah, yes, he grew up in Solihull.
He did grow up in Solihull, but that gives you all you need to know.
Solihull's right way. Depends what part of Solihull.
He's not. He's clearly not from the same part of Solihull as Jack Grealish is he?
No, no, he's definitely Touchwood, didn't he? Touchwood
It's,
area. Yeah. Um, who else? I don't even know. Um, I feel like I just feel like I have a kind of couple of winners in my mind right now, and they're all bold.
Mhm.
Shocking.
I'd give Ange a good guy.
In Hunger Games,
Yeah, 100%. I think Ange gives it a good go in that game. He's from the Outback.
yeah.
I think
Who's gonna cry in a corner? I mean, Moyes is too old, isn't he? But he's
yeah.
Scottish at the same time. But yeah, he's probably just
Guardiola will just shout at people.
yeah, he'd get his head shot off with an arrow.
Eddie Howe's too posh.
Oh, that's a good one because yeah,
Mikel Arteta will just follow whatever Pep does.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta probably would suck as bad in Hunger Games as he does as a manager.
Hey, you said it, not me. Please don't come after me.
Come at me, Arsenal fans. I don't like Arsenal.
All their fans.
No.
I tell you who.
Sorry, Arthur.
Who I think would give it a good shout. Andoni Iraola, and that's not just because I think he's perfect in everything he does. I think he's a smart man.
Yeah.
I think he's a very smart man. I think
Should we play our next segment? Who's got a crush on Riola? what's going on?
Give me a second.
Anyway.
No. I think you put Andoni Iraola in there. I think he does well.
Right. I want a winner. I want your winner.
My winner.
Actually, no. Go on. Runner up first. Who does the winner kill?
Runner up. I'm giving to Nuno Santo.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what he does. He's full of surprises, that man.
Okay, I'll give you my runner up.
Go on.
I have a couple of names in mind, but it's a tough decision. This is the hardest decision I'm gonna ever have to make, and
Mm-hmm.
It's gutting. You might think this is crazy because you might think he'd cry in a corner, but I think he's got an edge to him. I think Maresca last two.
I see it.
Only
I do really see it.
Just think he's got, I don't know. Just think he's got something about him that probably makes him last the last two. But he'll definitely get killed by my winner. Who is your winner?
I'm not too sure. I think, gun to my head, have to pick a name. Arne Slot.
Oh, that was mine as well.
Arne Slot. Arne Slot wins the Premier League Managers Hunger Games, but only because Sean Dyche got sacked.
Yeah.
When I suggested this to you,
when
I suggested this to you, I turned around and said, "We can do this now because it's actually a question now that Sean Dyche has been sacked."
Oh yeah. Well, Sean Dyche was a clear winner before that.
Exactly.
That is our Premier League bit done. We'll quickly move on to my NFL and do our little playoff picks.
Yep.
Do you need me to read out the games to you again?
No, I know.
Are you sure? Oh.
All right, so you've got Eagles against the Commanders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think the Commanders they were the underdogs against the Lions going into that.
Yeah.
Weren't they? Yeah. See, I listened.
Well, yeah. Well, they're beating the 1 seed in Detroit, so it's not like they're shy.
But then again, it was I think it was a better performance than the Eagles had against the Rams.
Yeah. Also, you got to remember the Lions had a lot of injuries on defense, and in that game, one of them snapped their arm in half, which wasn't nice. But it's difficult to say the Commanders will do it again, especially now traveling to Philadelphia, which I don't think is a more intimidating place than Detroit. I think it's very similar. But it's something about the Eagles, divisional rivalry. I feel like it's destined to happen. What do you think? We'll do this NFC Championship first.
I'm going to go for Commanders.
Okay.
I wasn't massively convinced by what I saw about how the Eagles looked against the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an incredible performance. I don't think it set the world alight at all.
No.
And I think the Commanders are on a big underdog run. I think they look really good now.
They do.
Coming through the wild card round and then beating Detroit. Yeah. I'm going to have Commanders make the final. I'm going to have Commanders in the Super Bowl.
Definitely.
And I don't think we have to talk too much about the other one.
What we will, I want an exact score prediction from you for the Commanders win.
Oh, okay. It'll be close. I think it'll be something like 27-23 to Commanders.
And I think a lot of NFL fans would love that if that happened. No one wants the Eagles back in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I'm going to have the Eagles back in the Super Bowl. I don't think Jaden Daniels will be phased by this because he seemed unfazed by all of this, like most of the time. However, I don't think he's faced a defense like this Philly defense, like, and well, the last time he faced a defense like the Philly defense was the last time he played Philly. Remember, they
Yeah.
play each other twice a year in the regular season because it's divisional rivals. Um, and I don't remember the scores from the last two games, but I think playoff time comes. Saquon Barkley's a different breed. I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna say it's a blowout. Definitely not. I think it's gonna be Eagles 34, Commanders 27. So one score game.
Okay.
I think it'll be a one score game. Puts the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
I think the other game. I think
Go
I
on.
think it's fair to say that Chiefs and Bills are the two best teams left. Would you argue against that?
Ooh, I don't know. On paper, yes, I'd argue against it and I'd say the Ravens are probably better than the Bills, but
Mhm.
paper doesn't win you the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
The Bills had an unbelievable season. They beat the Chiefs again at, they beat them in Buffalo. This time they go into
And then
Kansas City.
I'm just thinking of a couple of weeks back when they absolutely demolished the Broncos
The
and
the Bills. Oh yes,
the
yeah, yeah.
Bills. Yeah, 31-7, I believe it was, and I'm definitely not looking at my side screen.
Well, the Broncos are probably the worst playoff team I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm not going to think about that too much. But their performance against the Ravens was good enough.
Yeah, it was
Obviously it's a
it
good
was
Ravens team.
call it what it is though. It was a very entertaining game,
Yeah.
but there was some luck involved. Of course, there
Well,
was.
yeah. I mean, when someone like Lamar Jackson, he's dropping a ball and throwing a silly
Mhm.
interception, and then Mark Andrews, a good tight end, is dropping a couple of passes. I mean, it wasn't the only 2 point conversion that he dropped. Yeah, definitely lucky. But then again, Josh Allen did what he needed to do. The Buffalo team did what they needed to do, and the Chiefs team didn't look amazing against Houston. So
No,
it's two teams. One of them is so used to this, and the other one probably isn't as used to this. So I'll let you go first. What's your
well, no,
predictions?
I went first with the other
Oh,
with
okay. Okay. No, that's fair. Well, I'm gonna be boring. I can't see it. I'd love it, and I'm gonna be backing Josh Allen all the way. I'm not a Bills fan, but I do like Josh Allen. At the end, I think it will be. I think it'll be low scoring. I think it's gonna be Chiefs 21, Bills 18. There you go.
I'm going to be even more boring. I don't even think it'll be that close.
Go
I'm
on.
going to say uh, Chiefs. Chiefs will win, go through to the Super Bowl against Commanders, and I think you're looking at a 27-14.
Well, there you go. There's our NFL predictions. We'll come back to Super Bowl. In fact,
Yeah,
I'll get you a little Super Bowl prediction right now then. If it's gonna be Chiefs Commanders,
the
who
Commanders win
wins?
it. The Commanders win the whole thing.
Oh my God. That would be the first rookie quarterback to ever win a Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
I know.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going the Chiefs. You can go the Commanders.
Yeah, because you're boring and you're a square. That's
No.
why. All right. My two predictions to win the Super Bowl so far have been the Commanders and the Vikings. Right.
The Vikings one didn't go great. It didn't go great.
And I
We'll
don't think
see
the
how
Commanders
this
one will
one.
either. I'm really not sure. I think they'll win on
Oh,
Sunday.
but at least I'm not boring. Well, yeah, but I'll
Yeah.
be
Oh, I'm
right.
not boring,
So
am I? Right.
I'll be right. Yeah, but I'll be right.
Oh, look at me. The Chiefs win every year. Right.
Grow up.
I'm only here because if you were doing the podcast on your own, you'd just say the Chiefs win everything, Liverpool win every game, and it would be boring.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Sorry, Alfie.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Alfie.
Yeah. You'll be lucky to get Till the Bell back. Yeah.
I'm host till the bell,
I know, but it's under Till the Whistle. You
which is
know it
under
is.
state of play.
Yeah, and Joe will shout at me.
Exactly. Joe will shout at you if I don't get what I want.
Why is Joe the designated leader of this? I don't even know how that happened.
Because Joe made himself the leader.
Joe's social media man.
And as Joe is always saying, he is the leader of the gang.
Did he say that?
No, it was a.
I don't get it. You
It was
lost me.
it was a crude reference to disgraced BBC presenter Gary Glitter.
Okay. Well, sorry, Joe. Try him, not me. It wasn't.
He's not getting this far into the podcast. We're like almost 2 hours in.
Yeah, no, he won't listen at all, so it don't matter.
You think he knows what a Travis Kelce is?
I don't think he knows that we spoke about him in the first one.
No, he does. Arthur does.
Does he? Did he listen to it?
Arthur listened to the whole thing. Arthur listened to both of them.
He's a good lad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What have we got? Our last thing to do. Our little closer. What were we going to do?
That was everything. We were meant to end on the Hunger Games.
Were we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. Well.
Thank you for joining us.
What? Who gave you outro?
Me. I'm taking it now.
Okay.
Right. Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Till the Whistle. The third podcast me and Alfie have done together now.
Yeah.
We will be back next week. We're going to try and make this a more consistent thing.
Definitely.
Alfie, any closing remarks about this week in sports?
No, it's quiet. Hopefully Blues beat Wrexham and we can all be happy.
Yeah.
And
James McClain cries on the pitch.
Yeah, make sure you follow the socials. Harry, point to where the socials are going to be.
One there.
Which one?
One there.
No, you have to say which one it's going to be.
Okay, fine. There's your Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
There's the TikTok.
Good. TikTok.
There's the Twitter.
Done. There you go.
And there's the Blue Sky.
I'm not doing Blue Sky. I told you last time I'm not doing Blue Sky. You also pointed over the Instagram.
Yeah.
Anyway, make sure you follow me and Harry on our socials. Harry, do you want to shout out your Twitter at all?
Follow me on Red Note.
Red Note? Is that the new TikTok one?
That's the Chinese TikTok.
Well, just isn't TikTok? I don't know. Anyway.
No. My Instagram is harold.c. My Twitter is now there. Cleaver_Harry. Don't follow me on TikTok. I don't use it.
I think your Twitter's going to be here all episode long. I mean, if you'd watched the episode last time, you'd know that our tags were.
No, I watched it in its entirety. I tried to mute you during it, but that didn't really work.
I'm not coming back for Till the Bell next time.
Good. I'll do it on my own.
Why is that? You don't even want Arthur?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Well, there you go. Make sure to follow. Well, Harry will say no through all of it. Don't follow me on Twitter, but you can if you want. Well, make sure you follow.
No, seriously, go ahead.
I'm doing it.
If you want to plug your social media, plug your social media.
I'm going to. Follow me on Twitter or X.
Whenever you're ready, Alfie.
At ablue7barber. Follow me there. And then on Instagram, you can follow me there if you want. I don't really care. Alfred7.34. But yeah, that is it for this, third podcast we've done together. Second episode of Till the Whistle. Thank you for joining us. Harry, any closing statements?
Go Commanders.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week, hopefully. Goodbye.